Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Curtis from Track Rider Trucking LLC, and it's now Friday morning, October the 9th, and it's approximately 2 o'clock in the morning on the 9th, on a Friday. I'm still in just a little ways outside of Missouri, northern Missouri. I'm in Iowa. Had to shut down last night, and anyway, been an interesting last 3 days since I came back up on the road. Everybody know my last video, I was just came back up, got ready to rock and roll, and got me a load pretty quick after I got my DOT physical completed, which that's all done and over with. I got my hazmat endorsement, that's all over with. That's all I want to be put on my CDL. So, and I'm sorry about the lighting, it's just a pain in the butt, but anyway, getting ready to roll here in the next 37 minutes or so. I've got a delivery to make, but anyway, picked up a load, got a load, had to bobtail down to Joplin, Missouri to pick up an empty trailer. Had to go get it washed out, and then I went to Cassville, Missouri to pick up a load down there, chicken load, and George's Poultry. Nice place, nice, not a bad facility. Kind of weird way, go in there with an empty, drop the empty trailer, bobtail over to the bobtail staging area and stand by until they get your load ready for you. Took them about 3 hours to prep it. About 1:30 that next day be the what was the last next day. Anyway, got the load and started headed towards Indiana with it. So I had, headed towards Minnesota, Warren, Minnesota, just north of Detroit. Anyway, this new clock thing, I guess I messed up or did something, and I checked box the little box down on their status report where it says will coincide with your sleep or birth time. But anyway, thinking when I restarted and got ready to roll, I thought I had about 8 hours to go. So I thought, man, I'll get a good jump on this one. But anyway, I got about 6 hours and 30 minutes left on my clock, and I get a yellow triangle saying you have 59 minutes left of your drive time. And I'm thinking, what? So anyway, I got a whole logs because I just had passed Prime, and I was up on 44 through Marshville, and he went back and looked, and he said, sure is, you must have done something to where you caused you. And I said, well, the damn thing's telling me it's 6:30. I got 6 hours and 30 minutes left of drive time. Now it's telling me I got 59 minutes. What is it? And he said, well, there's something that you must have done, that you must have activated something or didn't complete your 8-hour break or whatever it was. And really, it's true, because I only got about 5.5 hours before I had to leave. Well, I had to leave the facility. I had no choice. Well, I didn't know. I thought my clock was good. Well, apparently it wasn't, so I ended up having to pull over just north of Marshville, period. I had to pull over and regen my clock. Well, that just messed my whole trip plan up. So anyway, of course, that was a late start. It was early in the morning, so I didn't get really started till like 11 or 12 that day, that morning, that evening, or whatever you want to call it. I think I stopped around 3 or something. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I had to regen or reset, and then at 11 o'clock it shot my whole schedule up, because I had to have the delivery the next day, or no, was it? Yeah, the next day had to be done like 06, or it was an ungodly number, 0200 in the morning or some crap. So I ran as hard as I could, got about 590 miles up to just south into Indiana, just south of Michigan, and I was still 200 miles out. So I had to call dispatch. I had to stop. I had no time left on my clock, and they repowered me. Some guy came and picked it up like 3 o'clock that morning, which kind of sucked, because it woke me up and I had to redo it. But anyway, he got my load, I picked his load up, he took off, and I went ahead and went back to sleep. Then I couldn't roll till freaking 11 o'clock that morning or something. Then I didn't have to deliver that load till 2, and I was only 70 miles away, so that was cool. So anyway, got around the next day, took off, headed over to a little place there in Indiana, Walmart DC in Auburn, Indiana, to deliver the load. Pull in, got my paperwork, got out, made it, had plenty of time to get there. Got there and found out that this load that I had gotten repowered with wasn't due until today. Here it was Tuesday, Wednesday morning, something like that. So it had a 2-day hold. They wouldn't accept it. They kicked me off. Well, they didn't kick me off. They told me I had to leave, so I had to call my fleet manager, tell him the situation. He goes, "You got to be kidding." I said, "No, I'm not kidding. It's the luck of Curtis, you know." So he said, "Well, find you a place to park, and then I'll get back with you." Of course, I had to go down, and I thought, well, maybe they're going to work it into where I can get back. So I turned around and come back out, made a loop, and got back on. There was a rest area about 5 miles away from that 90. Sit there, and about 20 minutes later, I get a message. "You need to take this load to," of course, they couldn't change the freaking time. So I had to take the load to a drop yard in Decatur, Indiana, which was about 130 miles or some bullshit. So I had to take off, go back down, turn back around and go. Got over there, and I guess we got a prime yard, and it actually got prime sign and everything on it. Nice facility over the Decatur. I pull in, and I put it in and back up, and it looked like it was just a lot of tankers. You know, everybody wonders where these tankers are, and they, you know, everybody, shh, be very, very quiet. You know, you see this posted all the time because they'll see a tanker sitting there and they'll talk it. Well, guys, I know where they hang out at now. I mean, I've never seen so many tankers in my life. I mean, you know, trailers. And I said, it's in Decatur, Indiana. If you want to go see a group of tankers from Prime, that's where they're at. So just to give you a heads up, if you ever have to go to the drop yard, that you'll see tankers there, I guarantee you. So I got a repairs facility in there, 2 bays and something else. But anyway, I dropped the trailer, and I thought, okay, now what am I going to do for a trailer? Because I had another proposed load I had to get to Gary, Indiana to pick up. Well, I walked in there, and just so happened they had an empty. And it was full. It was all set up, ready to rock and roll. So I got my fleet manager and said, "We need to put this on my truck because I don't want to lose it in case somebody sneaks in here and wants to take it." So we got it all hooked up, and then I said, "Okay, I'm gone." Well, the problem is in this time frame, all this kilometer just kind of just there, you know, the click, click, click of the clock. So I'm having to bust it, but to make it to Gary, Indiana, which was about 150 miles, 160 something miles away. And this Qualcomm sent me down, and if you ever have to go from Fort Wayne, Indiana over to Gary, Indiana, and it tells you, routes you through Highway 30, do whatever you can to get away from there, because Highway 30's got about 500 million freaking stoplights. It's a 4-lane highway, but its stoplight ever seemed like 200 freaking yards. And of course, I hit every one of them. So I just back my time. Well, I'm hustling, and I'm losing my time. I'm thinking, man, it's going to be close. Well, I got to their gate in Gary, Indiana. It was a Indiana Sugars. And I get there, and I'm thinking I'm late, right? Well, I'm not late. I'm 8. My appointment was at 2100. I punched in my arrival at 8:44. I thought. Little did I know that I guess there's a gap between Gary, Indiana, and Chicago. There's an Eastern time and a Central time. Well, I happen to be on Central time, so I get there exactly about an hour and 45 minutes early, which was cool. Well, I pull up to the gate, and you know, my luck hasn't been very well. So I get out, go up to the counter, I give them all these numbers that I have that's listed on your trip. None of them match. And I go, God, not again, you know. And I'm thinking, okay. So I said, well, can you call somebody and ask? It might be a different number. So she called. She goes, well, what are you hauling? I said, well, more than likely it'd be dry. It's sugar. Oh, okay. Let me call the department. So she calls it, and finally the guy sees the number. Said, yeah, that's a load. And she goes, okay. And it was brown sugar, which I have on now. So anyway, I got to go through the gate. Of course, I got to go across the scales. They flash you a green light, and you go all the way back to the back on the left-hand side. So I pull up there, you know, walk inside, and they're not expecting me till the next day, which was yesterday. And I'm going, geez, you got to be kidding me. My appointment time says I got to be here at 2100 hours now. That's on the 7th, not the 8th. And he said, well, hold on a minute. So he looks it all up and he said, well, we got a couple more trailers. They were packed, empty trailers, you know, they're trailers by themselves. No trucks were in there, just me. So he goes, well, we got to finish doing this one. Well, the guy was on lunch break and I was early. And he said, well, it might be a few hours. And I said, okay, whatever. I'm going to hang out. Well, I only had 3 hours left on my drive clock. So I'm thinking, okay, how are we going to adjust this around? Because I knew I had to be here Friday morning at this one. And I had to go, it's going to Abilene, Kansas. So I knew I had to get there at 7 o'clock appointment today. Well, anyway, with that being said, they turned around and he looked. And they finally, about 3 hours later, they got me loaded. I went and loaded up, took off. And I thought, okay, I've got 2 hours and 34 minutes. I've got to get to my fuel point. My fuel point was in Morris, Illinois. So I hauled butt, you know. Thank God, no traffic. I got through Chicago, went through all that mess. I pulled into a TA. Of course, I was supposed to fill in the pilot, according to the Qualcomm. Pulled in a TA, like 3 cents difference. I walked in there. Of course, it's packed, you know. It's freaking dark 30 in the morning. So I get in there, and I thought, hell with this. I parked in the aisle. Fuel aisle, went inside. I said, you got any reserve? She said, yes. So I got a reserve, went over and parked the truck, and I had 42 minutes left on my clock. So I was able to stay there. Of course, that just messed my pre-plan up because here I was. I didn't get very far with the load. So here I've still got 630 freaking miles to drive. And I only got 1 day and a partial day. So, of course, you know, I hit I-80. Next morning or at noon or wherever I got started, took off flying. Well, I got to thinking, I said, well, wait a minute. The more time I run, the lesser time I'm going to have to get there, and I ain't going to get there. Because it's only 630 miles. I normally can run that in a day. But the problem is, I would have had no clock left, and I would have been late for my appointment at 7 a.m. I hate these early morning appointments. They need to be an open appointment from 7 to 2300 hours. That's what they all need to be. My opinion. But that's my opinion. Well, anyway, I made it to this rest area. I didn't roll a whole day, okay, guys. I'm telling you right now, I wasn't going to go any further because I couldn't regen my clock early enough to make it to the appointment. So I thought I'd stop, called the FM. FM turned around and said, okay, we've already been working on it. We're trying to get you 2 extra hours. I said, fine. Well, in 5 minutes later, I get another proposed load already, and I'm still on this load, which I'm not complaining. It's great. So I got a proposed load. And it seems interesting, but I'm not going to comment on it till I get this load done. So anyway, I went to bed at about 7 o'clock because I knew I had to get up this early. I'm getting ready to roll here in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. I got to do my vehicle inspection and everything. I got to take my trash out. My normal routine in the morning, go to the bathroom, then I'm ready to roll. Anyway, I got my appointment time extended to 9:30 this morning. I'll have that. I should make that. I only got like 296 miles left to go. So I should be able to make that pretty soon. So anyway, but that's the story, guys. So I just thought I'd pass it on and talk to you a little bit and tell you everybody hi, how's it going and everything, and get ready to roll here in a second. So just wanted to say hi to y'all. I'm going to get off here, leave y'all be, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to you in a couple more days. Y'all be safe out there. Take care. And always remember, we keep driving. It's driving for perfection. See you guys. Bye.